Hey everybody, how are you doing? It's C.J Atemo here, and we are on another episode of Wisdom Moments on K24. How have the episodes been to you? I'm looking forward to getting more and more of your feedback. As I always say, we need to hear what you want us to talk about. So hit us an email, cjatesol@gmail.com. It's right there on your screen. Follow me on every social media platform. Subscribe to CJ Atemo on YouTube as well. But let's get to hear your feedback on what you would want me to talk about and even what I've talked about and you need clarification about that. This week, I've got something so interesting to talk about. It is very common, such a common phrase for people to talk about your network is your net worth. But is it? So today I want to talk about turning your network into your net worth. Turning your network into your network. If you scroll very quickly through your phone, you might find that you've got 150 contacts, 200 contacts, depending on your personality and the kind of field that you operate in, kind of spaces that you are in. Some people have 300 contacts. Some, well, probably they've got fewer, they've got 50. But whenever you have things that you need to deal with, when you need help or assistance, how many of those people can you really call? If you need a job, you need a deal, if you need some money, if you're stuck somewhere, if you're trying to get a school for somebody that probably your child, you're trying to get a school, if you're trying to travel to a different nation and you need somebody to help you from over there, you need a host in a different town, how many people can you really call? If you're like myself, you will probably find that when you are really in need, you'll keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling through the numbers, and somehow you just feel like, no, I cannot call this person. You feel like you can't call certain people, and you feel, well, you will try to call some people. There are people who are probably within your contacts who are no longer even in your network anymore. You are no longer in contact with them, which is one of the primary qualifications for anybody to be in your network. I have seen people who will, disappear on you for 4, 5 years, 6 years, and then show up one time, and then they need this very huge favor, sometimes financial. And the first question would be, well, where have you been all this time? The second question would be, if I am not in your circle that close, we have not kept in touch, we've not been talking, we've not been dealing for all this while, you must have built a different circle of people around you. So what has happened there? Because the general thinking is that then the person has depleted the trust within their networks, so they are seeking help outside of their networks. So how do you really turn your network into your net worth? The first thing which I'll talk about today, my first I, is intentionality. Just because you are in touch with people, you meet people, you are close, there's proximity, does not mean that people automatically become your network. For anybody to be part of your network, you must be intentional. It means that you've got to go out of your way and form those and formalize those contacts. Make sure that you talk to people, you call people, just check out on people. It's something that I will talk about even in my second point, but there has got to be intentionality. Networks do not just form by themselves. You can just wake up and be part of people's networks. You have to be part of the things that they do. You have to share certain interests that they have. You must be available. If you are friendly, or rather, if you have friends, you've got to show yourself friendly. You see, there are people who will ignore everything that is happening within their circles. Then when they have a need, they expect people to come through for them. Yet they have never allowed people to draw from their resources. It is important for you, ladies and gentlemen, to understand that you must be intentional about being in people's lives and keeping people in your life. Sometimes there will be disagreements. Sometimes there will be conflict. Sometimes there will be misunderstanding. But if you really value those relationships, then you will work at causing those relationships to work. There are people who are no longer talking, not because they have fought, they've quarreled, disagreed, but because there was no intentionality. So a week turns into 2 months, turns into a year, and it goes through into 4, 5 years. And because we live in a world that is very fast-paced, You just get to discover after a while that you haven't talked to somebody for 6 years. So you've got to come back into their space and begin asking them for their contacts, and probably you slide into their inbox or their DM and say, look, I lost your number. The first thing that the person will have is distrust. They will ask themselves, did you lose or did you delete my number? Why did you not ask me for my number all this while? Because it's taken so long. But the general thing is that people get so busy. You get so busy that it is so easy for you to forget that you haven't talked to people, you haven't met people, you haven't visited people. You have to be very intentional. That means that if there are people that you feel are important in your life, people that you feel need to be in your life and you want to be in their life, you've got to prioritize them. You've got to be intentional. I'll talk to you once a week. I will call you once in 2 weeks. I will meet you once in a month. There has got to be an intentionality to it. Planning helps you not to slide into the place of assumptions and complacency. Then the awkwardness that comes in with silence that cannot be explained will be dealt with. So you just decide, once in a month, we will have coffee or we will have breakfast, and we will be catching up and talking about different things. This is true even for people who seek things like mentorship, or even if it is your family. And you all will recognize your schedules may be very different and people may be busy. We understand that. But if you're intentional, you will make time. You will create that room. It may just be a phone call, and sometimes then you will decide, okay, let's do a video call just so that I can see your face. It's not something that you do with everybody, but with the people that you place value on, you have to be very intentional. You don't just wake up one day and expect people, just because they are within your space, they are within your proximity or within your contacts, to begin supporting you, helping you, or bringing value to you just by the virtue of proximity. No, you have to be intentional. So today, what you are going to do is to go through mentally, or even through your phone, go through and see who are the people that are supposed to be in your network. It could be professional, it could be social, it could be your spiritual network, it could be whatever kind of network. But the people that you feel that you need to grow with, you need to go with, you need to do things with, who are those? Of course, your family is part of your network. Your family is part of your social network, and it could be even more than just the social network, but it is always your first fallback place. If you are in debt today and everybody runs away from you, your family will help you. So it is important as well to see that your family is empowered financially. Always consider your family to be part of your network, and consider your family not just to be a social network, but even an economic network. They can easily agree on disposing of property just to help you for something that probably your friends may not do. If you were in bed, sick, in hospital, and you are stuck over there with bills, well, your family may, and I don't want to just generalize, but then in the greater perspective and the greater percentage, they may dispose of something, get something, just to make sure that you are out of danger. Then other things will be sorted out later. It's always a fallback place. So do not neglect that, even as you develop the other networks that are outside. But if you know that there are people who bring you social value, economic value, if they bring you intellectual value, whatever form of value they bring to you, you've got to be intentional and begin to see, how much do we talk, communicate, interact? How do we just interlock our schedules so that we do not neglect something and expect it to grow and turn into something, yet we have not put any effort into it? So, ladies and gentlemen, be intentional about turning your network into your net worth. Be intentional. Once again, such a pleasure to be right here on Wisdom Moments on K22.